Well, hello there, good people. And this is Brothers for another day of life in the Word, and another day that I choose to share with you some things about prosperity. I know that many Christians are throwing their money in churches, and I'm not talking against that. And I'm not talking about somebody always after you sowing your money, you never receive the harvest, always coming up with another excuse for why God isn't prospering you. Well, today I'm going to address that for you, because let's read the word and see what God says. The word of God says, give as you have purposed in your heart. Now, why would God tell you to give? Well, let's start right there. If you take right now a handful of dirt sitting on the counter, you take a seed sitting on the counter, and you set a glass of water all on the counter. Now, over a period of time, if there was any moisture in the dirt, it's going to get dry, almost like it's unusable. Same thing for the seed. Where the seed had life in it, if you just sit, it's going to do nothing but dry out and die out. Now, our water supply, that's something different. The water is going to start growing fungus and mold and no matter what, just other stuff that you don't want to digest, because the water's in the state of death. Now, but if you had taken that soil, planted those seeds, and watered it with the water, it would have grown. With the right amount of, it would have grown. Now, here's the question to you, or here's the clarification for you. Each one of those things are supposed to be what they call inanimate objects, meaning it didn't have our kind of life in it, but it has its own cycle of life. But where did that cycle of life come from? Dirt by itself don't have life, and water by itself to grow vegetables without being applied to a vegetable is not going to grow a vegetable. And the seed without water and dirt is not going to sprout. So somewhere between the seed being stuck in the dirt and the water being applied, something began to happen inside the seed. You can't tell me that that thing that's happening in the seed is not spiritual, because inanimate objects of themselves have no life. So in clarifying your giving, you have to understand the law. The law is what you sow is what you reap. If I had sown dirt, I don't know how you sow dirt, but if I had taken some dirt and sitting on the thing, it wouldn't have multiplied. If I'd have set the seed there and did nothing, it wouldn't have multiplied. If I had taken the water and just sit it there, it wouldn't have multiplied. So you're going to tell me these three things that cannot multiply apart from each other, when you bring them together, can cause multiplication in and of themselves? Nope, that's not it. This world is impacted by the power of God in every aspect. Now, the reason you don't understand this is because this is how you see God. God is always described as eternal. And when you talk about his power, they said he is the creator that is always creating. Therefore, life in him is always producing life. It is an ongoing process that makes him eternal. His life just goes on Produce more life, produce more life, produce more life, produce more life. Just more life, more life, more life. Zoe life, just more life, life in the life. It's life in life. Now let's get back to the seed that you sow of money. So you said as you purpose in your heart, you're going to sow, I don't know, say $20. I mean, maybe that's all you have purpose in your heart to give. There's nothing wrong with that. You give as you purposed in your heart. Sometimes you give because you feel the Spirit urging you to give. And then sometimes you give because you just want to give, as you purpose to give. Now, if you sow money, why would someone come back and tell you you didn't reap a harvest because you didn't water the word? The word that law was watered by grace, unmerited favor. Because if you don't know that you have favor, then you're waiting for someone to tell you you didn't receive a harvest because you didn't name it. Oh, I know. Let's get a caster. The farmer, when he's going to sow his corn, saying, "Oh, I purpose in my heart to sow corn right here, so I expect corn back." That's what he's saying. But you know what? The farmer never has to say what he's sowing, because he already knows what he's sowing. And he never expects anything different to come back than what he sowed. And he'll never plant and not have a harvest unless something catastrophic happens. So let me explain that to you. If you went to church every Sunday for the last 6 months and you sowed seed, not just your tithe, not just your offering, or maybe we can count your offering as seed, because sometimes you hear God telling you what to give and sometimes you still give on your own. Now, when you get to the end of the month, for every one of those months, tell me how you had to struggle to pay the bill because you sold money. You didn't get money back. You got favor. You got someone saying, "Oh, well, you know, that bill that you owe, it wasn't really $100. It was only $60. Is that money in your hand? No, that's a forgiveness of a debt. That's not what you sowed. You didn't sow forgiveness of debt. You sowed money. So I'm going to say it to you again. Farmer doesn't have to say, "I'm sowing corn, so I expect corn back." In the same token, you, as a child of God, should not be sowing money and expecting debt cancellation. If you wanted debt cancellation, you should have been sowing the seed of the word for debt cancellation. You sowed money because that is the medium, that is the international medium of exchange of all churches. Money. And if it becomes an international, without a doubt, without any variations, because they'll never let you sow a chicken in church today, not here in America. But if that's the international currency of exchange, then why aren't you receiving money back? You didn't name the harvest. Oh, you got sin in your life. Ooh, let me digress for a minute and address that too. And there's one other I'm gonna address before I shut up. You ain't prospering because you got sin in your life. Well, let me share something with you. In your most perfect state, you are not without sin. It doesn't matter how well you sing, how well you can interpret the word of God. It doesn't matter how many PhDs, DHDs, EDDs, and CDDs you got behind your name. It doesn't matter if you're a rapper. It doesn't matter if you're an artist. It doesn't matter if you're a star. It doesn't matter. Because if you can live so perfectly, why would you have ever thought to need Jesus Christ? Because if you were living so perfectly, you wouldn't have been in a hard spot that you had to call out to him. Unless he saw you as a Job, which, let's get that straight. There are no more Jobs. So God is not repeating the same thing, though they would tell you that he is. Some things are done away with, but we don't want to do the things that keep us close to God. But anyhow, back to the sin. So let's go to the word. The word, Jesus, who knew no sin, became sin so that I, who knew no righteousness, would become the righteousness of God in Christ Jesus. Now, the simple way of understanding righteousness is it means right standing with God. Right standing. So, if I'm in right standing through Jesus Christ, and I sow seed as I purpose in my heart, who has the right to tell me that I'm not prospering because I'm in sin? Because if that be the case, grace is gone again. The unearned favor of God. So for all these years, you've been sitting in these pews and you've been hearing someone say, oh, this is the year of prosperity. Oh, God gonna pour you out, blessing you ain't gonna leave. If you would just take time right now and count how many years you heard that, and the only increase you got was the normal amount of increase in the promotion that you can get on your job. But you gave purposely. Well, let me share this with you also. The reason why you aren't prospering is not because God has changed in his returns that he gives to his people. It's that the word spoken over your life, you've submitted to, instead of you getting into the word and understanding God's prosperity from a level of can't nothing stop me from prospering in God. Now, I'm going to take this even farther. Then after this, I'm gone. This is just today. If you were the child of a wealthy parent, and there was three of y'all, let's say one was studious, one was artsy, and one was mischievous. Now, we're talking about earthly parents, so there's going to be some variation sometime. Because earthly parents, we do have favors in our children. But the thing being is, when you throw a party for one, most likely you throw a party for all three of them. No matter how mischievous, no matter how artsy, and no matter how studious. Or if you decide to give allowances, you'll give allowances to all of them until one of them do something to stop the allowance, which might be the mischievous one because he's doing so much stuff and getting in, trouble that you don't want to get into. But the same being is, as parents, you're going to give each one of your children supposedly equal amount of your love and material possessions that you have to give. Now, why would we be children of the Most High God, and he only sees pastors as, you know, the best children in the bunch, but leave us down here, the bad children? We stay wallowing, and we keep sowing money, but all we get is, like, you know, the bill, you know, the bill is forgiven, or the debt isn't paid, or somebody comes along and pay the bill for us. That is an increase. I don't care how you define it. If we go back to the farmer, let's look at the ear of corn again. He puts in a few kernels of corn in the ground, and an entire stalk comes up that have multiple ears, and each ear has multiple kernels of corn on it. And that's just from one place that he planted. Now, when you talk about planting over, say, 5 acres, how many kernels of corn do you think he's receiving back? Because he now has enough to feed the family, feed the animals, sell for increase, and make sure he gets the fertilizer and stuff he needs for the next planting, and to give some away. So tell me when the last time you sowed a seed and the law of reaping and sowing actually did what it said for you, instead of someone telling you why it should not, and you receiving that, and now it's struggling again. Remember, 3 John 2, beloved, I wish above all things that you would prosper and be in health, even as your soul prosper. Next time, Brother Thomas.